Hello everybody, it's time to get the tactical head on, the analyst head on, and let's get straight into Erik Ten Hag's tactics for the upcoming 23-24 season. And I've got an absolute corker for here to you today. Look, I've connected up the iPad to the desktop. We've got the tactics on the iPad. I can use my Apple Pencil to move everything around. This is legit, I'm telling you. Now, as it stands on paper, the back four going into next season is looking like it's going to be Luke Shaw, Lisandro Martinez, Rafael Varane, and Diogo Dalot, with a new goalkeeper coming in ahead of David De Gea's release. So, more than likely, it's looking like it's going to be Onana. The midfield, we're looking at Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, and Mason Mount, the direct upgrade to Christian Eriksen as the new signing. Marcus Rashford on the left wing, Anthony on the right wing. That's my decision, my choice. I've put him there instead of Sancho or any other wingers. And hopefully we sign a new centre forward. Now the starting positions are obviously going to be set out in the 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. But in my opinion, formations, positions, they're becoming fugazi in the modern game. Football as we know it has completely changed over the years, especially in the Premier League. We're now looking at more fluidity of movement, players focusing on what role there is on the pitch, and having everyone comfortable in different areas. Now, out of possession, I think what we can more than likely expect to see is a flat 4-1-4-1. Or, as like the end of last season, we more than likely could have a flat 4-4-2 out of possession. That's what it would look like at the tail end of last season. Now, what this allows you to do is be very compact, have minimum width, and it's how you're going to keep opposition at bay, make sure they're not entering our box. When we actually don't have the ball, you can really expect us to be sat deep when we're in our half. Now, when we're in the opposition's half and we don't have the ball, that's going to be completely different. We're going to have a counter press, high press, as we've seen from Erik Ten Hag. Now, when the ball is on the left-hand side of the field, Diogo Dalot is not going to be over here hugging the byline with Anthony, because what we have here is we have a huge gap in the middle of the pitch. So you can expect Casemiro to move over, Diogo Dalot to move over, Anthony to move over, so on and so forth. Lisandro will move over. That's what happens. Wherever the ball is, the team will be moving. Then what we have is this sort of 2-2-5 formation starting to be implemented when we have the ball in the opposition's half and the attacking third. Now, what's really key to remember is how these players are going to operate on the pitch. So we've got Luke Shaw bombing up wide. We'll also have him coming back into the defensive area. Anthony's very good at pressing. He's very good at looking after the ball. He puts in a tremendous amount of work in the defensive area. So we can expect Anthony to be coming down as well. And also when we have the ball, Diogo Dalot is going to operating in this side of the field. When we don't have the ball, he's going to be wanting to move backwards over here. The next thing to consider, the third man runs from Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount into the box. It's going to be so important. They're both so good at that, especially Mason Mount on the half turn. He's somewhat a half-turn specialist. I struggle to think of many football players in the world that are as good as Mason Mount on the half-turn. Mount's going to be receiving the ball from Lisandro, from Diogo Dalot, from Casemiro. And also what you'll expect to see is Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes sort of operating in this box-to-box zone as two double eights, which we haven't seen at United for such a long time. We've been so used to the double pivot. Now, we are going to have a really strong left-hand side going into next season. And this diamond that we have forming over here with these three English players, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to tear defences apart. It's going to retain possession. It's going to create goal scoring opportunities. Our biggest weakness going into this team is the right fullback position on the right hand side. Diogo Dalot, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now, they're obviously good football players. Diogo Dalot certainly has a lot more room to improve. But they don't offer the same fluidity as the left-hand side is going to offer. And I don't believe at all personally that we are going to be relying on that area. I do believe you'll be able to see Luke Shaw coming into here, Diogo Dalot stepping into the back three. We've seen Luke Shaw have fantastic games in the left centre-back position. I think you can expect him to come back into that area to offer some more defensive security for Lisandro Martinez and Varane. And then the next thing to focus on really is the goalkeeper here. Onana is a significant upgrade on David De Gea when it comes to ball distribution. And it's going to transform our team more than anyone can believe, more than anyone can want to believe. We are going to be able to see a completely different Manchester United going into next season. Now, the best thing about Onana or any goalkeeper we buy that's going to be better at distribution, whether it's Diego Costa or Onana, it's looking 100% like it's going to be Onana. We have passes out to the fullbacks, clipped over the ball fullbacks, going to be able to beat a press. We've got long balls going out wide. We've got line-breaking passes through the midfield into Casemiro. We've got long balls to Rashford in behind. It's going to be phenomenal. Now, me personally, I'm not a huge fan of having Lisandro Martinez and Varane kind of sat operating on their own. I don't think they will be able to cope extremely well in a high line against fast opposition, and I'm very wary about Varane defending the wide channels. We haven't seen too much great effort from Rafael Varane defending the wide channels. Although he's a very good box defender, he's naturally a very organically great defender. But when it comes to defending the wide areas and the channels, we just haven't seen it. Lisandro Martinez, we haven't seen him playing a high line in the Premier League yet. Last season we played the deepest line in the Premier League. Now that's not to say that they can't do it. I believe they could, providing we've got all the coaching and all the requirements that we need to from the other players on the other side of the pitch. I think the other thing that could potentially let them down is Casemiro. Casemiro naturally isn't a phenomenal ball progressor. He's not very good on the half turn. He's not very good at taking the ball off of the defenders, scanning around the pitch and playing it forward. We all know that because he's had Toni Kroos, he's had Luka Modric. I'm not saying he's bad at that, he's just not as good as some other players like a Rodri or a Gundogan, for example. And we have been heavily linked to Sofian Amrabat, who can do that job. And I'm telling you now, we need serious squad depth, because if Casemiro does get injured, it all goes Pete Tong, doesn't it, really? And the thing with having a player that can take the ball off of the defenders is that it offers them some much more relaxation, some defensive security. Not everything is heavily evolved for Lisandro and Rafael Varane. We can have them coming deep to collect the ball off the goalkeeper. We can have them shuttling around this area for stopping off potential counter-attacks. And we also obviously have them being able to freely mess around with the ball into all the different areas and keep recycling the ball. Now, I much prefer how this looks. There aren't many teams in the world that leave two centre-backs on the high line in the middle of the pitch with full-backs inverting. You need serious talent to be able to do that. And I don't mean serious talent in a football quality perspective. I mean serious talent in your work ethic, your work rate. We need significant improvement in that area, because then what you're going to need, as soon as we lose the ball in the opposition's half, Luke Shaw needs to come back. Anthony needs to come back. These centre-backs need to drop deep. Diogo Dalot needs to get into position. Bruno needs to come back. Mount needs to come back. Rashford needs to come over here and offer some more defensive security on the width of the pitch. And then really you just leave the centre-forward up there. Our centre-forward signing is going to be so important for us. It's going to be mega. We need to be able to sign a centre-forward that's going to be a very good back-to-goal play, hold-up play and link-up play, because the players that we're signing are box presences. What we need that centre-forward to be able to do is be very much comfortable coming into the pockets, coming in between the defensive line and the midfield line, because as I've said previously, what that frees up is Bruno to go into the box, Mank be able to go into the box, Anthony can come down to the byline, Luke Shaw can be getting in this position to be able to deliver cross-field balls that we know that he's so good at. Now, as you can see from this limited information, we've not started pre-season yet, you can kind of gather where Erik Ten Hag has taken this Manchester United team. And that's all she wrote. Look, I really hope you enjoyed this video. This is something a little bit different to what I'd usually do. If you'd like to see any more of these videos coming in the future, I'm quite happy to do this. It's very fluent to set up. Don't forget to like, comment, and of course subscribe. It really does help out. Thanks for watching. Peace.